Hey, what is going on, everyone? Happy Monday. Hope you're all doing good. We got some breaking news to lead the show off here. It is official. Bill Barr is looking for a new job. Attorney General Will Barr has resigned effective today on Monday. And here to talk about this crazy break news development is the one and only Todd Bailey and Kelly Cash. What's going on, guys?
Hey, good to be here.
Yeah, same here. It's good to be here for actually my first time. So
I know, right? I've been trying to get Todd on for a while. Now we got the three guest thing. We're gonna see how this goes. It's a little bit of an experiment there, Todd.
Yeah, we'll see how this goes.
Yeah, we'll check it out. But it's that's kind of a crazy development that Barr would be out. Trump's been wanting to fire him for a long time because I think he wanted to get Barr to arrest Obama a couple months ago for whatever. And arrest Biden as well. And, after Barr came out and said that there was not any massive voter fraud, I figured it was just a matter of time.
Yeah, I think he just had to get one good firing in before the end. He just had to drive it home with one last fire. Hey, maybe we'll see even a couple more people lose their jobs in the, month or so he's got left.
Yeah, interesting timing on this right before Christmas. So, gets to spend time with his family now.
I know, right? It's like, that's a real kind of crappy Christmas present, right? He's just forced out right before. You can't make it a couple more weeks?
Oh, even 2 days, maybe 3.
Yeah, well, I guess, happy Christmas to Bill Barr because he's kind of free now. And the one thing he's got going for him is that it seems like people are, it's kind of interesting with, I can't remember his name, but the guy who was real big during the impeachment scandal, I can't remember. It's like Josh something. His the national security advisor.
Oh,
anyway, he got fired before he got fired, and then all of a sudden it kind of like people hated him before that, and all of a sudden he was loved by everyone. And so it seems like with this administration, if you want to land on your feet, it's best to get fired instead of
I don't think Bill Barr is headed for a whole lot of post-career accolades. I think he set the bar pretty low. I don't know every attorney general ever, but he did a pretty bad job of it. And like you said, just not arresting Biden or Obama for whatever made up thing at the time. I don't think that really entitles you to a lot of applause.
Probably not, but I bet he's got to come out with a book deal, and we'll see. Definitely won't read that one, but I'm sure it'll be out there.
They all have a book deal.
They all do. So, Todd, first time on the show, it's a little bit of tradition to have a nice little drink. What you got going on there, my friend?
Let's see. The camera's backwards. I'll clink glasses with you here.
Oh, here we go. Okay. Kelly. There you go. Right on, man. Well,
yeah.
You guys ready to get after it?
Let's do it.
Yeah, let's do it.
Let's do it, man. All right, so for our first story, before we do anything, make sure you go ahead and like and subscribe to the channel. I'd very much appreciate it. So on November 8th, the United States got a new president.
We can now project that former Vice President Joe Biden has been elected President of the United States. He is President-elect Joseph Robinette Biden.
CNN projects Joseph R. Biden Jr. is elected the 46th president of the United States.
That former Vice President Joe Biden will win Pennsylvania and Nevada, putting him over the 270 electoral votes he needs to become the 46th president of the United States.
And Trump did, as many presidents did before him, and graciously accepted defeat.
This is a fraud on the American public. This is an embarrassment to our country. We were getting ready to win this election. Frankly, we did win this election.
Okay, maybe not. But it's just joking, right? Maybe he just wasn't ready to accept it then, but he's not going to, keep that going, right?
If you count the legal votes, I easily win. If you count the illegal votes, they can try to steal the election from us.
All right. Well, I'm sure he's got some good evidence for all these claims. You know, a bunch of whistleblowers, maybe some people out there that have really been on the street, see what's going on. Maybe there's something.
But these vans did not have food taken out of them.
And the vans that showed up, they were supposed to be filled with food. What did they have in them? Do you know?
I never saw anything being brought out of the vans.
What about the turnout rate? 120%.
Let's let Representative Johnson ask his question.
My question is, why we're not seeing the poll book off by 30,000 votes? That's not the case.
What did you guys do? Take it and do something crazy to it?
They didn't bother to interview a single witness, just like you.
Yeah, that was a little oops there on Rudy Giuliani's part. Well, yeah, so I guess there's been a ton of bullshit since Biden actually won the election, but now none of that matters because Joe Biden has won again. The Electoral College met today and officially cast their ballots to elect Joe Biden as the 46th president of the United States. So Todd and Kelly, is it finally over?
No.
No. Come on, how long is that going to go on for?
It's not official till January anyway, so we still got a longer ride on this roller coaster.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm ready to get off the coaster.
It was over on election day, but no, this is going to keep going. We're going to see the House of Representatives thing next, and they're going to try and do the whole thing there, and yeah, I mean, until Trump's out of the White House, this is just going to keep going. And then once he's out, he's just going to keep being like, oh, it was a fraud, blah, 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 blah. It's not over. We're gonna listen to this for years.
I mean, yeah, I totally think you guys are both right. I mean, it's just, whenever I hear the stories about the updates on the election fraud stuff, I'm like, that's still going on? Like, that's still a story that's happening? It just seems like it's just wasting everybody's time.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I don't. These are, it's just trying so hard to make something out of nothing, and it's just not there at all. This is a fraud-proof margin of victory. All these alien conspiracies lately that the new one people came out with and stuff. That's more likely. That's more likely than voter fraud.
Yep, especially on this this massive of a level. It just doesn't make sense. Oh, you got Todd. You got a little bar there. But yeah, it just doesn't make a whole lot of sense. Let me fix that real quick. Oops. Yeah, live.
If you want to pop me
TV.
up for a second, I was talking about one interesting thing I thought so far, and I haven't gone back to look at all of the states yet, but there were no surprises or defections on electoral votes that I'd seen. Back in 2016, you had a few people here, a few people there, just refusing to vote the way. Yeah, I mean, it didn't affect anything, but they refused, so-called faithless electors, and we saw several states pass laws against that. But this time it looks like everybody is voting as they are supposed to, in accordance with the will of the voters.
Absolutely. And it is very interesting that, there were one or two electors last time in 2016 who, did a little freelancing. And so every state kind of decided, all right, let's kind of shore this up a little bit, make it illegal to just, kind of do whatever you want. And that's really kind of an interesting that might be the final nail in Trump's coffin, hopefully. I mean, this has been going on for a long, long time to go. It's not like there's a pandemic or anything to work on now, and it's not like there's anything else going on.
There's nothing else on the agenda. Not a giant, massive problem affecting basically everyone in America. No. Yeah. Nope.
Yeah, I guess we're just gonna have to keep wasting more time so we can come back here later on and again declare Biden the next president of the United States.
Yeah, third luck's the charm, right?
Third time is most definitely the charm, Todd.
76th time, or.
Yep. Yeah, I'm like, I'm just surprised that I didn't know this was an option, right? Like, now I'm like, I should protest all my Falcons games. I mean, if I can just say that those were fraudulent scores and we should be in the playoffs, that's how that works. We can just, facts don't matter anymore.
Yeah, I mean, I think you guys would want to stop the count in most of your games. If the Falcons could only play 3 quarters of football, they'd be doing a lot better.
That's true. Well, there are only 3 quarters in football, Kelly. That fourth is fake news. Like I said, truth doesn't matter anymore. We can do whatever we want. Hey, what is going on? Welcome back, and on to our next story. If you haven't already, maybe give the channel a little like, a little subscribe maybe. I would very, very much appreciate it. I got about 145 subscribers now, and that is awesome. So if you've subscribed already, thank you so much. And if you haven't, why not? Just click the little button down there. It's, you won't regret it. Well, a few weeks ago, millions of Trump supporters, Okay, so a couple of weeks ago, hundreds of thousands of Maga fans. No, wait, that's not right. Tens of thousands of Trumpers descended on DC. No, okay, no. Sorry. Okay, a few thousand people, descended upon DC to stop the steal and protest the results of the 2020 election, and it was become known as the Million Maga March, or what I've decided to call it, the Million Moron March.
It's a fraud. It's been stolen.
Yes. This president needs us, the silent majority. We need to wake up.
And they did wake up. And it worked so good with, Trump and his legal team winning one lawsuit. They were like, we're due.
The courts do not decide who the next president of the United States of America will be. We the people decide.
Do you still believe he won?
Absolutely. No doubt.
This time it looked like their turnout was in the hundreds. And despite how ridiculous all this works, how all this looks, it's kind of working. Here's some polling on the election and the election results, how people felt about it, like right after the election on Biden was announced the winner on November 8th. A poll from Reuters found that about 52% of Republicans believe that Trump actually won the election. Overall, Americans, by about 3/4, 73% believe that Biden won the election, while 5% said Trump did. So that's overall Americans. That's how overall Americans felt about it. And again, that polling was done about right after the election, and now there's some new polling that's been done just a couple days ago. And in this poll, they found that 95% of Democrats think Joe Biden won because he did. But on the other side, if you could see this here, overall, when you look at Republicans, they think that 72% of them think that the election was not fair and Trump won, which is a 20% jump since November. Overall, about 61% of people have faith in the 2020 election and 34% don't, which is a big shift from just 5% in November. Now, we all just found out that the 2020 election and the 2016 election, that polling ain't perfect. But I never actually thought that this stop the steal crap about, overturning the election. I figured it was never going to actually work to overturn the election, but it seemed like the goal was to undermine the results, and that seems to be working real well.
Yeah, I think it's working as intended.
That's the scary thing about social media, man. You get a hashtag behind a cause, and then it's gonna actually spread like wildfire more than you want it to.
Yep, absolutely. And it's just crazy that there's no evidence, there's no concrete, examples of election fraud. There's maybe a couple votes here and there, but that's stuff that happens in every election, and people just keep believing this, and that's kind of scary going forward.
I mean, you just can't change some people's minds. It's like I said with the alien conspiracies. You know, some people are going to believe it no matter what. You know, I once, you know, back in college when the pink slime thing came out, you know, I had to sit there and listen to about 8 speeches pro pink slime. You know, we'd be oppressing companies by, you know, forcing them to let people know pink slime, not telling them they couldn't go ahead and keep putting pink slime in meat, but it would just be oppressing these companies if they had to tell people about it. So if you could get people that worked up over literal slime, I mean, this isn't, you know, this is just how people are.
Man, pink slime the best though. I might give me some pink slime after the show. Go ahead at McDonald's or something like that. Hopefully that don't get me in trouble. But
this latest, you know, like you said, the million, definitely an operative word there. You know, more like there are tens of us. But you know, this last one, you know, we saw a lot of violence. You know, several people were stabbed, quite a few people injured, dozens of arrests. And, you know, we were seeing that they had the anti-Trump protesters, you know, corralled by police while, you know, pro-Trump groups like the Proud Boys, you know, a white supremacist group were allowed to, you know, kind of just roam the streets with impunity. And, you know, I mean, that's not something you want to see. I mean, that's the Mussolini kind of stuff, you know, where a sectarian group is just allowed to kind of operate, you know, even despite political violence.
Yep. Yeah, I saw a picture of, I guess, the Proud Boys founder just, you know, walking into the White House. He did a nice little photo op, which, hey, like Trump said, stand back and stand by. And I guess now we know what they were standing by for.
Well, in that one, the bizarre, I mean, you know, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but, you know, so much stuff this past 4 years has been utterly bizarre. You know, the White House has come out and said that the Proud Boys guy, you know, that he wasn't there for a photo op. He was there on one of like the Christmas tours, and that they didn't invite him, that he was just a random guy taking pictures. And I don't know, could be true, could be not true. Each possibility I feel like is equally likely at this point.
I mean, yeah, who knows? There's not a whole lot of truth going on around there. And, you know, I don't know if people haven't been to the White House before, but you can't just walk up. It's not how it works.
Yeah, I'm honestly.
Oh. Uh-oh. Looks like we lost everyone. We'll be back. All right, sorry about that, y'all. We little technical problems. It's always something. You were gonna say, Todd? I didn't want to cut you off there.
Yeah, I actually think we got hacked by Russian hackers. So sorry about that, folks. Yeah, I was just gonna say I'm actually surprised half of those Maga supporters made it there when they were left stranded on those airfields. Just very surprising to me.
Yeah, absolutely. It's one of those things. I'm like, yeah. I mean, if you're set into fake news, I mean, didn't everything become fake? I mean, if they're like, all right, if they're like, okay, the march starts at 2. Does it really start at 2? Is time real? Is time fake now? You know, is that fake news? And scientists all under their time. So it's surprising that there were really that many people there to begin with.
Yeah, seriously, no. It's silly to me to have to lie about a crowd size just to make your group seem larger at an event, just to add more, I guess, realness to it. I don't understand it. And I just think if they had a message, it's taking away from whatever their message was.
Yeah, for real. And it's one of those things where I'm sure the women out there weren't that surprised when Trump, lied that something was bigger than it actually was. I'm sure, got a little bit of a track record there. But the big question is, is this Stop the Steal movement, is that actually, is it, are people believing this? Is this helping to make this more credible?
Well, I actually think people are believing it, unfortunately. Like I mentioned on the other topic, it's just with social media now, and a lot of the stories out there, not knowing whether it's true or false, and what you're fed inside your online bubble. It's I think you're either moving further to the right or further to the left, and it's honestly a scary thing when it comes to two groups going against each other and not seeing eye to eye or even reaching any common ground. At some point, we have to be bipartisan.
Yeah, that's definitely the hope. That's the goal. What do you say, Kelly?
Yeah, I mean, it's how do you reach across to some of these people who are so utterly unwilling to make any kind of compromise? And then on the other side of thing, I mean, you do have to compromise. That's the only way stuff gets done. So we're definitely in it for a while. This state of affairs is not going away anytime soon.
Yep, unfortunately. Yeah, and for anyone who thought, okay, we're getting rid of Trump, we can move on. No. Probably not, unfortunately. Hello and welcome back. In the last couple weeks, there's been a lot of searches for the term sedition. What is sedition? And I'll get to that in a second. But if you haven't already, like the channel, maybe subscribe, sign up for notifications, and leave a comment. Let me know what you're thinking, right? So, apparently, a lot of people want to know what sedition is because, according to dictionary.com, searches for seditious went up by 2,500%. Now, I didn't know things actually trended on dictionary.com, but whatever. It's a whole new world we're living in. So sedition, it's a noun, which means incitement or discontent or rebellion against the government. Any action, especially in speech or writing, promoting such discontent or rebellion. Now, people began searching up the term after Texas's Attorney General filed a lawsuit to throw out the election results in Pennsylvania and 3 other battleground states. Pennsylvania's Attorney General responded by saying it was a seditious abuse of the judicial process. A little AG on AG action there. I guess that's how they throw down. Well, now Congress is trying to get in on the Sedition Act with the newly appointed Democrat Congressman from New Jersey, Bill Pascrell, asking Nancy Pelosi to not sit 120 members of the Republican Party who are supporting Trump's slow-moving effort to pull off a coup and undermine the 2020 election. So, Todd, Kelly, does this mean some spots could be opened up for Congress? Maybe we should all, put our hat in the ring or something there?
No. I mean, I don't think we need to go on some kind of, John Adams-esque sedition hunt. This is America. As if the last 4 years have proved anything, it's that you have a license to stupidity. You're perfectly free to say as much dumb stuff as you want. I don't think it's seditious. If they were, saying we have to secede, that'd be one thing. But, this nonsensical, signing onto this ridiculous letter, I mean, it's not sedition to me. And I don't see it going there.
Yeah, this is America. Don't catch me tripping, no, right? And it just seems like a big waste of time, right, Todd? It's just like, it just seems like...
To me, it's just another distraction. It's another, feeble attempt to try to make something stick, in the effort to upend this election. I mean, if there's one thing that's hard to do is to get a congressman out of their office because they like sitting on their big fat paychecks. So I do not see any house clearing. I don't see a liquidation effort of Congress anytime soon. But I think it's just a last ditch, makeshift attempt to try to get something started, and because what else do they have?
Yeah, it just seems like a big waste of time, and it's one of those things where I think it seems like the Democrats are kind of taking this, much ado about nothing, and they're not really taking it that seriously. Because the idea, I think one of the big things we got to work on kind of going forward is there's obviously a big political divide in this country where, Trump I think has 73 million votes for him now, and it seems like you can't heal that political divide by kicking out all their representatives in the House.
Yeah. I mean, you could try.
I mean, yeah, if you wanted to take this from a slow-moving coup to a fast coup, that's the way to really get things going.
Yeah, I mean, if you wanted to just go in the other, go in the other direction with your stuff. Yeah. But no, I mean, again, they're not talking secession, which I've seen this whole ridiculous thing of people saying that West Texas ought to secede and join New Mexico. And, all 3 of us lived in New Mexico for a little bit of time. We've all lived in Texas. And, you don't need any kind of degree to tell you how ridiculous that is. Just on its face, it's a very dumb plan. I don't think New Mexico wants West Texas.
No one wants.
I mean, I'm from the Panhandle, and I don't see them joining New Mexico willingly at any point. I just, these people talk about it back and forth every now and then, and it's just stupid.
It is, and it's one of those things where, okay, yeah, if it's a Republican president, all right, California, time to secede from the Union. And then when it's a Democratic president, Texas is talking about the same thing. And it's like, come on.
The only way California is seceding is if the San Andreas Fault actually breaks apart the land from the mainland.
Yeah. That's more likely that the entire state breaks apart from the U.S. physically than any kind of political breakup.
I mean, hey, it happened in that one Superman movie, so hey, why not? Really just got to see if The Simpsons did it, because that's a good way to predict the future from now going forward. Right on. All right, now for our next story, and this time we've actually got some interesting kind of news here. But before I get to that, if you haven't already, go ahead and like the channel, subscribe to the channel, because I have some very interesting information on the COVID vaccine, and you want to keep up to date on this, right? So go ahead and subscribe, like, comment, and sign up for some notifications. So after months and months of waiting and lockdowns, we finally got some good news.
Begin with that breaking news. The first vaccine for coronavirus here in the U.S. has just been approved.
Just been approved. And, the coronavirus has finally, we have finally found a vaccine, 2 vaccines for COVID-19, 3 if you count the one from Europe. But as the immortal King of Tigers once said,
guess what?
The bad news is these vaccines were developed under this guy.
Supposing we hit the body, tremendous, whether it's ultraviolet or just very powerful light, and then I see the disinfectant where it knocks it out in a minute, 1 minute. And is there a way we can do something like that by injection inside or almost a cleaning?
Yeah, almost a cleaning. So if your Christmas lights are powerful enough, just go ahead and stick them right on up there. Get rid of the coronavirus. Well, countries began rolling out the COVID vaccine last week, and it ain't going so well. So Europe is beginning to have some problems with people who have allergies, severe allergies. They've actually told them to stop taking the vaccine altogether. In Australia, they've completely reversed course after several people who got the COVID-19 vaccine tested negative for the coronavirus and positive for HIV. Now, those were false positives, but still not good. And here in the United States, polling suggests, and again, polling not 100% accurate, but here in the U.S., less than 50% say they would take the vaccine now, with about a quarter saying they want more info, and 25% just saying, hell nah. And we need about 70% to reach that herd immunity status in this pandemic. So Todd and Kelly, knowing all that, which one of you guys is taking the vaccine first so I can have it tested out on y'all before I take it?
I think if you look at where the vaccines are going to go to first, I think Todd and I are actually dead last. No comorbidities. Neither one of us work in healthcare. We're just white guys between, right in that like 18 to 39 range or whatever it is they're talking about. So yeah, I think we're dead last to get it. So presumably if there are problems, by the time it gets around to us, it'll be fixed.
Well, yeah, Todd, are you going to be my guinea pig?
Well, no, I was going to say if things go wrong with the first batch, we won't have the healthcare workers to save us. So it's going to be interesting.
Oh, that's a good point. I hadn't thought about that part. Todd, you just made me more scared about this whole thing than I was before. Thank you for that. It's very much appreciated.
Well,
and a lot of...
Okay. Go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, it seems like a lot of these vaccine problems, they can be expected, except the HIV thing, that's a little scary. But really the reason why they've abandoned that vaccine is because they're going to go with the Pfizer, AstraZeneca one that the U.S. is using. One, yeah. So they're just kind of giving up on it.
Yeah, it seems like, you've got 2 or 3 really strong candidates moving forward. Of course, there's, China's got like 5 different candidates. Russia's got a few. But of course, here in the West, the main ones are that Pfizer one, the Moderna one. And those have got their own problems. The Pfizer one's going to be really hard to roll out because it has to be kept so cold. Similar problems with the Moderna one. But I think that overall, given the amount of agencies that have looked at this across the world, looked at it, the amount of scientific research that's going into these, I think you're right that, Australia abandoned it more just because there were better candidates available coming up that didn't have the same kind of side effects, and that these candidates that we do have are safe.
Exactly. And the Trump administration is kind of maybe rightly taking some heat for only getting 100 million doses of the Pfizer vaccine. I guess they had
the option to take it, and they just didn't. Pfizer was like, hey, would you like first dibs? And they said no, which is, it's just unbelievable.
Unbelievable. It's just one of those things that just when you think the Trump administration can't do anything dumber, they surprise you. They figure it out.
Yeah. I mean, it's if they were a football team, they'd be the Jets. Finding new and exciting ways to lose.
Absolutely. Yeah, and I'm hoping that because I don't know about you guys, but I'm ready for this pandemic thing to be over. So I'm hoping it's over sooner than later. But I'm also I don't know. There's some scary side effects for now, and I'm sure it'll be much ado about nothing. But by the time you're right, Kelly. By the time we get it, they're gonna have it pretty well tested out. So maybe I could see you guys in person again sometime in 2020.
2021.
Yeah, it's going to be a whole new year of the same thing.
Yeah.
2020 2.0, so...
Yeah.
It is funny the amount of people out there that are like, well, 2021, we'll have to make it a couple more weeks. And I'm like, when the calendar year changes, that doesn't mean it all just ends and we start over again, right? Like, it's just, that's not how any of this works.
As Taylor Swift would say, we're not out of the woods yet, y'all. So, listen, we still got a while to go, and with any vaccine of any kind, there's always a failure rate, and everyone's biogenetic makeup is different. So there's going to be people with side effects. You're rolling the dice taking a new vaccine, but can you think of some things that you've eaten before that you probably shouldn't?
Oh, yeah.
You survived.
I mean, it's like, we got rid of smallpox, we don't have to worry about polio or the measles, it's even not, like our parents' generation, those were big concerns. And, for people our age, they're not, because we all got vaccinated. And now people younger than us, a lot of them have anti-vax parents or whatever. So, these things are coming back, typhoid, and it's crazy.
It is. And I do think, first of all, anyone out there that's worried about taking the vaccine and the side effects, if you went to college or, went to a party and you drank the jungle juice, you got nothing to worry about. You're going to be just fine. But I do think you kind of bring up an interesting point there on the back end, Kelly, because I was watching some Bill Maher. I know you're not a big fan of his, but one of the things he had a doctor on and talked about is because vaccines have become so political, and you're right, Todd, everyone's different there, right? Everyone has a different kind of makeup. Certain things affect certain people differently. But it's a catch-22 with some vaccines that anytime anyone announces they're going to look into them, people freak out. When really, we're not a one-size-fit-all kind of thing. So it's kind of like one of those deals where, vaccines should maybe be more scrutinized than they are, but because of politics, they can't be, or people just kind of freak out.
Well, yeah. So honestly, this one came a lot sooner than I thought it would. I honestly thought we were going to wait longer for a vaccine, and you either get the vaccine now or you wait for more people to die. So you got to roll the dice on this.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And I think, again, to use, polio or the measles or something like that as our example, that's a lot higher, it's much deadlier, I guess is the best way to put it, than, your chances with the vaccine. People used to die of smallpox just all the time, and now we don't have to worry about it. And sure, I'm sure there were plenty of problems with the smallpox, vaccine when it originally came out. But now it's a threat we don't have to worry about here in the U.S. So, all these people there are valid concerns. There are valid concerns that there hasn't been enough testing done, or that, testing was done on the typical scientific biases, that certain groups weren't well enough represented. Todd talked about allergic reactions. That's been a problem, that people are concerned hasn't been enough testing on people with allergic reactions, hasn't been enough testing on pregnant women, stuff like that. And those are valid concerns, but I think, for the vast majority of us, these vaccines are going to be safe.
Absolutely. And if you're out there and you got some good friends like Todd and Kelly, make sure they take the vaccine first, and you can find out the easy way if it's safe or not. Hello and welcome back. Thanks so much for watching the show. I really appreciate you guys, sticking with us, tuning in, especially little technical problems. They're never fun, but I appreciate you sticking around. So, I have finally figured out the perfect way to get people to take the coronavirus seriously. And I'll get to that in a second, but if you haven't already, like and subscribe to the channel. Would be very much appreciated it. If you give a little subscribe there, I very much would be very, very good. I have about 145 subscribers up there, and I appreciate every single one of you guys, even the people who subscribe just so they can go and hate on all my videos and get a notification first. But if you're here to enjoy the content, thanks so much for watching. Now, there's been a lot of crazy stories in 2020. The coronavirus pandemic, the government saying aliens and UFOs are real, Trump's impeachment, and possible war with Iran, which pretty much everyone has forgotten. But if there's one thing I did not see coming, it's that people who claim to be patriots and claim to love America would start the dumbest coup attempt in the history of the world. Now, if you haven't seen it already, but Caleb Franks and the rest of his militia were so angry about Michigan Governor Gretchen Whitmer's draconian COVID restrictions, they plotted to kidnap her, hold a trial, and potentially execute her. Now, Caleb, who's known by the nickname Red Hot, for some reason, that's him here, I don't get it, but he was part of the crew watching Whitmer's house and was arrested trying to buy explosives and weapons. Again, all because of her insane COVID-19 restrictions. Well, it would seem good old Caleb, or Red Hot, has seen the light. Now that he's in jail, he's being asked to be released because he's afraid of the coronavirus. Apparently he has diabetes and high cholesterol and is worried about the COVID complications. Who knew? I guess it wasn't a fake virus after all. So Todd, Kelly, do we finally have the blueprint for getting people to take the coronavirus seriously?
Yeah, put them all in jail. It seems to be a winning legal strategy. Harvey Weinstein is currently using it to avoid being extradited to California. Tekashi 6ix9ine got out of jail and was just the other day he was at a strip club, so apparently not too concerned about it anymore. I think it's a winning strategy for people. I think all of them should, I don't think they should get any kind of special treatment. Our friend Red Hot included. The allegations against him are pretty serious. I don't think that the governor's measures were draconian or insane. I think this is, I would have put extremely dumb coup on my bingo card. This guy doesn't, the allegations against him are so serious. I don't think that he should get any kind of get out of jail free card just because he's scared about jail.
Yeah, absolutely not. I mean, again, they were planning on kidnapping and killing the governor of a state, and they decided to do that. That was option B. Option A was to actually overthrow the government in Michigan, because who thought that'd be a good idea? I don't know. I don't get it. Yeah, I'm like, don't let that guy out of jail.
Yeah, and I think some of the arguments that his lawyer's making, stuff like, well, he's a recovering heroin addict, he's more susceptible. And like, well, I mean, maybe he should have thought about that before he, as police say, got involved in a plot to overthrow the government. I just, and the stuff from his lawyer saying that, like, oh, well, he went to buy weapons. That's ridiculous because he only had $23 on him. I'm like, I mean, credit cards exist. Venmo exists. It's silly.
Yeah, it's absolutely ridiculous there. It just makes no sense.
I never thought a Monopoly play card would be a pandemic virus to get out of jail for free. Who knew you'd go from being cooped up to a coup that quickly? It's just, what did he think was going to happen? Seriously, and just, I don't know. You have to deal with the consequences of stupid actions, and I'm sorry, but you're gonna be locked up, and you're gonna have to face whatever you face in jail. And I would be less worried about COVID than a sexually transmitted disease in jail. So, good luck, buddy. Buckle up.
Yeah, exactly. Red hot. I mean, I don't get it. Maybe maybe the other inmates in there might see this guy and think, okay, hey, maybe they get the red hot thing. Maybe he's finding out the hard way. But that, good luck, buddy. It's just one of those kind of ironic things. Like, oh, yeah, the coronavirus, it's fake. It's fake news. But apparently it comes, very serious when it's your ass on the line.
Yeah, I think this whole argument that all these people, I'm so scared. I mean, look, there's tons of people in jail for nonviolent offenses who are facing, very serious risk being cooped up in jails, where we have seen massive outbreaks, where some of the earliest outbreaks of COVID were. But, a guy who commits a crime, or at least is accused of committing a crime, in the middle of a pandemic, to be like, well, now I'm scared of this virus. Like, well, sorry about that, man. Like, maybe think about that. It's like, regularly you're just like, I committed a crime, but I'm like super claustrophobic. Like, I hate these tiny cells. Like, it's not a get out of jail free card. That's not how this works.
No, not at all. And there's some people that are, real dumb out there that I can feel a little bit bad for. They don't get the coronavirus stuff, and like I did a story last week on someone who went out and got like a 5G internet blocker because they were like, oh, it's that 5G internet. And then they were complaining because their wireless at their house wasn't working anymore.
Yeah,
I feel a little bit sad for those people, but like this guy, no, have fun in there, buddy. Yep. Which so what you guys are saying is like 5G blockers would not be good Christmas presents for you?
No, you can keep the Faraday cage if you've already got one. I don't want it. I don't think I'd have that much trouble re-gifting it. But just save your cash.
Yeah, more Faraday cages for you, Todd.
Oh joy.
Hey, what is going on? Welcome back. This is the last story of the evening. Thanks so much for watching, checking out the show. Very much appreciated. What is Section 230? What is Section 230? And before I get to that, if you haven't already, like and subscribe to the channel. I would very much appreciate it. This has got a lot to do with the free internet, so this is definitely one thing that you're going to want to pay attention to. Now, if there's one thing that we should all be able to agree on, whether you're a Democrat or a Republican, it's that 2020 has sucked. But for some companies, it's actually been pretty awesome. Now, take good old Facebook. Now, since the shutdowns in March, Facebook stock is actually up by more than 100 points. 100 points. So, if you had Facebook stock, you're looking pretty good right now. But if 2020 was good for Mark Zuckerberg, 2021 is not looking so good going into the future.
The U.S. government and more than 40 states are suing Facebook. They're accusing the social media company of using illegal tactics to squash competition and eliminate rivals.
And if there's one other thing that Republicans and Democrats agree on, besides how bad 2020 has been, it's that something has to be done about Section 230. Section 230. Now, what is Section 230? Well, let me pull it up for you. Or I'll just skip that. So Section 230 was part of the Communications Decency Act of 1996 and was referred to as the most important law in tech. Now, Section 230 generally provides immunity for websites and publishers from third-party content. If you don't want to get that technical, basically what Section 30 states is that no provider or user of any interactive computer service shall be treated as the publisher or speaker of any information provided by another information content provider. So what does that actually mean? Well, it means that I, Citizen Pete, can say whatever the hell I want to say. And you could sue me, but you can't sue YouTube or Facebook or Twitter or wherever you're watching this, right? You can't actually sue those social media companies. So people, could post all kinds of, fake news or content or, misleading stuff and, anything they want online, and it's not the website's problem. But that could all be changing very soon.
It is a tiny law that's had a huge impact on the internet as we know it. Section 230 of the Communications Decency Act. Lawmakers on both sides of the aisle want to change the way the law works, affecting how content is moderated online.
So if Section 230 is changed in a significant way, it could have some serious impacts on Facebook and YouTube, and they are taking it very, very seriously. In fact, YouTube has come out and said they will delete any videos alleging widespread voter fraud in the 2020 election. Now, that being said, Todd and Carly, be very, very careful what you say here because I don't want to get the stream shut down. But what do you guys think of Section 230 and how this could change the internet?
So we go back to the origins of it. In 1996, to come up with this saying, let us police ourselves. We'll take care of it. That's well before Facebook, Twitter, any of that. Tech companies say, let us police ourselves. We'll take care of it. You don't need to worry about it. Flash forward, now you have Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, Google using it as a bulletproof shield saying, we're immune from everything all the time, no matter what, you can't hurt us. And so the fact of the matter is, though, that we've already seen things like, Facebook aggressively goes after nudity. And so people say, well, why can't you go aggressively against hate speech? We've seen stuff like the censorship on Twitter, that has the president all riled up, which is bizarre that Republicans are leading this effort, seeing so much more of the fake news on Twitter and Facebook, is aimed at conservative voters. That's where the money is to be made, is churning up that fake news for the conservative side of things.
Absolutely. And I
was going to say, I think that them being the ones to take this shot is bizarre.
Well, I think you've actually nailed it right there, Kelly, because, if anything, the fake news stuff has really benefited Republicans, but both sides of the aisle, they're, politicians, they're representing their constituencies, and their constituencies are so angry about, being silenced with this censorship, and so that's really why they're acting now. With all the nudity and all that kind of stuff before, it's one of those things where I think everyone on board was like, hey, we don't want to see any of that kind of stuff online. You want to go to other websites to kind of find that stuff specifically. But on Facebook, let's keep that stuff out. And that kept the general population happy. But now with all the fake news and all the fake content out there, both Democrats and Republicans are pissed about what's going on. And I think that's kind of what's gotten us to where we're at now.
Yeah, and I think with Facebook, they went after it really aggressively. They drew a lot of fire from breastfeeding groups, new moms, that kind of stuff. Things that wouldn't fall under the reasonable person's definition of nudity. And so I think it was a big question for a long time why they couldn't pursue that kind of similar thing with hate speech, with fake news. So it's bizarre to see Republicans taking this line on it. An actual repeal of Section 230, I think, would kill Facebook or Twitter, because it would force them to hire so many more employees. They would have to change their entire business model. Even right now, I don't know if you guys have heard this story, but, there's a big expose on the amount of child porn, non-consensual sex, all that kind of videos like that are on Pornhub and sites like those. So they went ahead and pulled all of their non-verified content, which is what you could see on Facebook or Twitter. If you're going to pull all your non-verified content, that's the whole thing. That's the service. That's the whole ball game right there. You can't just pull the videos. I mean, what's Twitter going to be? 20 people? I mean,
yeah, exactly. Which reminds me, if you haven't subscribed or follow me, make sure you do, so I can get verified before all you other people get kicked off and stuff. But yeah, Todd, I mean, you can see this having some big changes. I mean, because it kind of makes you worry about anything that you could post, because is that going to get taken down or?
Well, it's always been the big question about the internet. Should it be this free, lawless place? And that's what a lot of people love about it, is you could do anything on the internet. And to ask a big site like Facebook to start cutting down, start moderating, start limiting what people can do on their site, it certainly begs the question on freedom of speech, but it also, there's a morality to it, to where you have to, make decisions on stuff that is hurting people and eventually hurts people in real life. Some people die from things that get stirred up on social media, and at the end of the day, though, they're companies. We're talking about companies, a business with a business model, which they want as many transactions on their website as possible to make money, and that's all they want to make is money.
Exactly, and I think a lot of people. Okay.
Every click it's more money for them, and so they see this as a loss in the revenue, and that's pretty much it.
Exactly, and I think one of the reasons too why they haven't gone after hate speech so much in the past is that there's so much money in it, I mean, there's so much money that they're getting from, whether it be political ads or people just engaging folks with the content. And honestly, for a lot of folks who are just trying to sell ads or sell services out there, if you're getting that data from people, then they're not really caring very much, where it's coming from. So yeah, we'll have to see what happens with Section 230. Repealing it could have some massive implications for the internet going forward. But leave me a comment, let me know what you think, and don't forget to subscribe, and I'll stay on it for you. Yeah, we got very close there. Ooh, let me see if I can fix it. All right, cool, yo. Well, thanks so much for being on the show. Oh, there we go. I lost them both. What you gonna do?
You lost them?
Yep. But yeah, what you gonna do? Little technical problems, but hey, thanks for sticking with us. Thanks for checking it out. Again, if you haven't already, go ahead and subscribe to the channel. It'd be very much appreciated. And we're gonna clean up some of the technical problems and be back better than ever. It is a Monday after all. Thanks again, y'all.